Good morning. My name is Allison, for those of you who don't know me, and I am very thankful to be a member of First Baptist Church. I'm going to share with you a little story about the first time I was looking for my own home church. I grew up going to church. I always went to church with my parents. My dad was the pastor, so I never really had a choice about where I was going to church. But when I graduated from college, I moved away from home to a new city, and I was away from my family, away from everything that was familiar. And so it was the first time I was looking for a church of my own. And I remember one Sunday morning I showed up at East Hill Baptist Church. I found my way into the sanctuary, and I found a spot that I thought was pretty inconspicuous, and I sat towards the back, and I was just sitting on the bench alone before church started. And there was this really sweet lady that came up to me, and she just said, "Hi, my name is Mamie, and I'm so happy that you're here today." And I said, "Well, hi, Mamie, it's nice to meet you. I'm Allison." And then the next thing I knew, she picked up my Bible, and I thought, well, this is interesting. And then she said, "Sweetie, you're going to sit with me today." And then she walked off with my Bible. And so I thought, well, I guess I'm going to sit with Mamie today. And so I followed her and sat next to her. She introduced me to her husband, Ed, and they were just the kindest, sweetest people. And then as the service ended, she turned to me and she said, "Next Sunday when you come, I want you just to come over here and sit with me. This is where I always sit, and I want you to come sit with me next Sunday." And I thought, well, I guess that means I'm going to come to this church next Sunday, and all right, I guess I'll sit with Mamie. So I did, and I came the next Sunday, and I sat next to her, and she said, "Now, sweetie, I made lunch for us, and you're going to come to my home for lunch." And before I knew it, she was family to me. Here I was lonely, I didn't have family, I didn't have my grandmother around, and she just took me in. I wound up joining that church, probably because of Mamie Reed. And I'll never forget, it was Mother's Day, and she came up to me and she said, "Have you heard about the mother-daughter lunch that they're having?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I heard about it, but I'm not going to be able to come." And she said, "Well, I already bought you a ticket." And I remember thinking that it was just awkward because I didn't have my mom there. Why would I go to a mother-daughter lunch? And then she handed me another piece of paper, and she had decorated it with stickers, and it said, "I hereby adopt Allison Patterson to be my granddaughter for Mother's Day." It meant the world to me. She became my family, my Memphis mama. She created community for me. We didn't have anything in common that you would think of. I was in my early 20s. She was in her 90s, but she went out of her way to make sure that I felt at home. She gave me a home, and it meant the world to me. She came to my wedding. She had us into her home even after we got married, and she called me her granddaughter from then on, and she was my Memphis mama. She passed away shortly before we moved here to California, but she was so excited about our growing family. She was so excited that I was married to a pastor, and she just made all the difference to me. And in Matthew 25, Jesus talks about how that when we reach out to others and we show love to others, that by doing that, we're showing love to Him. And I hope that that's what we can think of when we have people that come visit our church, or when we're doing this study about becoming a welcoming church, that we can think of it not just as a way to grow our church or a way to be kind, but as a way of worshiping our Lord. That's a way that we can worship Jesus, is by being kind to each other. In Matthew 25:40, Jesus said, "And the King will answer them, 'Truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these, you did it to me.'" And that's what I hope that we can think of and remember. I'm so thankful for First Baptist Church. When we've come here, as soon as we came, we felt a part of the community. And I feel like we already are a welcoming church. And I hope that as we study in Sunday school about this, as we look about improvements that we can do to our church facilities to make them more welcoming, I hope that through doing all of this, that we can remember at the forefront of all of that is just that we want to share Christ's love, and to remember that by being welcoming, by inviting other people to church, that we're not just making a short-term impact, but that we can make an impact for eternity in these people's lives. And I just hope that you will open yourself up you never know. You might be sitting next to somebody that can be your adopted granddaughter or your adopted grandmother, and that you can make an influence in their lives. Thank you.